Okay, hello everyone, my name is Laquan Williams, and today in this video I'm going to be doing a review of the last current episode of Legends of Tomorrow, which aired yesterday on Wednesday, the 10th of October, November 2021. The season 7, episode 5. The episode is titled "It's a Mad, Mad Scientist." In this episode, we saw the introduction of Matt Ryan as Professor Gwen Davies, or Gwen Davis, or Doctor, Professor, either way. We saw exactly what he has done with his time machine, how he created it, and the team essentially is finally in New York, and they found him eventually. First, what happened was we saw an episode, essentially, which was Sarah Lance was shot at by a hot dog / newspaper vendor at a newsstand, who recognized her, and Ava Sharp as the Bullet Blondes. Essentially, what happened was that the Legends decided that leaving Chicago and going to New York would not require them to use disguises again. They didn't use wigs or disguises this time. They were walking around essentially like nothing happened, that nobody knows that they're the Bullet Blondes. That people have forgotten about that, which is obviously very weird because they were just in Chicago at a mobster party / regular party with people, and they threw a party and had everybody there in the whole entire town of Chicago or city there to attend it. Everybody knows their faces and recognizes them. The Bullet Blondes are notorious criminals on the run. So I felt like amateur hour to me. I was scratching my head saying, why did they not wear disguises again? No wigs, no disguises, so people would not know who they were. Sarah could have been killed. But unfortunately for her, she has regenerating and healing powers now because of Bishop and her being cloned and whatnot. Nobody else obviously would have survived that except obviously Nate, because he can turn his whole entire body into steel, like Colossus from the X-Men. He is Mr. Steel, or Steel. So basically what happens after that is they find out where Professor Gwen Davis is at a university working for Thomas Edison. They found out about his time machine that is real. He's created it. He's keeping it in his house. Nobody knows about it except Thomas Edison and a few people, because he showed the plans to them, the blueprints and the sketches. Thomas Edison told him when he fired him because of the team, "You can't build that. This won't work. You're insane." He fired him after Professor Gwen Davis begged him not to do that, and now he got committed. He got to Bellevue Hospital, which is a mental institution. He got sent there. Then after that, Thomas Edison took his work and moved on from that. And obviously, the team was at fault. Matt Ryan's playing Professor Gwen Davis because John Constantine, the character, is now has been taken by HBO Max. They took the rights to the character. J.J. Abrams is making a John Constantine show that will be out next year. A black man is playing him. We don't know who that will be, but John Constantine will not be played by Matt Ryan on the CW ever again. Will he be this character throughout the rest of the season, possibly the next one, which will be the last one? I don't know. That's a possibility. More than likely it won't be, because once they get the ability to time travel again, there won't be any need for him, obviously. Once they get Gideon back as being a regular AI system and they get the Wave Rider back, essentially what happening is what we see in this episode is they just keep screwing up and messing up things. What happened was that Azra, Spooner, and Gideon got stranded. They had to figure out a way to get to the other team. Back to everybody. Zari and Nate had to figure out a way to get the blueprints and sketches from Thomas Edison that were Dr. Gwen Davis back. So they used the J. Edgar Hoover cyborg. They reprogrammed him, and they made it his mission to only get that back. So that's what happened. They did eventually get it back, but unfortunately Thomas Edison died when the robot cyborg version of J. Edgar Hoover blew up. They apologized to him, and Thomas Edison had a heart attack and died out of shock. About 5 minutes later, while they're picking up the pieces of the robot cyborg of J. Edgar Hoover, a cyborg version of Thomas Edison and another copy of J. Edgar Hoover come out of nowhere and teleport there looking for them. So essentially what's happening is anybody who they accidentally kill in the timeline is brought back from the future to the past to kill them by Bishop. Bishop is the villain again for this season. He was the villain for last season and this season. Like I said before, the writing for the show is very lazy and sloppy, and for them deciding to do this again is not very creative at all. When the show ends next year, possibly more than likely, or then with this season, or possibly an 8th one, which will be a cut down by another couple episodes. Season 6 was 15 episodes. This season's 13. We're already halfway through it. Next week will be episode 6. Like I said, Bishop's going to be back in that episode. Probably won't be in there back until like the 8th or the 9th. The team will finally figure out that Bishop obviously is the villain who, again, he's trying to destroy them, take them down, and he wants to keep the timeline intact, but he wants to destroy he wants to destroy the legends in order to do that. Don't know how that works because Nate said us keeping the timeline together is essentially all we do. That's our job. How is he going to do that if he destroys us? We don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Like I said, Bishop being the villain again is very uninteresting and boring. I don't care about it at all. But we'll see what happens with that. When he's destroyed again, if and when that happens, how the team's going to move on, and if there's going to be another villain in the next season, which will be the final one, or if they're going to bring more villains from the past back, or if they're essentially going to be fixing anomalies and mistakes that they have made throughout this season, and also fixing them as well, while also trying to keep the fabric of time together itself and save the space-time continuum, while also making sure that they pass down the Wave Rider back to Rip Hunter or new legends instead, who will be taking their places as they're probably put back into their own respective lives and their specific timelines with their memories erased by Rip Hunter or possibly the Time Bureau so that they won't remember anything. We don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I'm just speculating. I don't know, obviously. We'll see what happens. But like I said, I won't miss this show when it's gone. It used to be fun, but after the last couple of years, it's just been very boring. It's essentially, like I said, a ripoff of Guardians of the Galaxy, how it's turned into a fraternity of superheroes drinking beers, smoking weed, cracking jokes, and having fun, and not being taken seriously as it used to be, obviously, in the first couple of seasons. And I was laughing when I heard people say on the TV promos YouTube channel on the episodes for last week, that this is a great show. It just keeps getting better. This is also essentially the best show in the Arrowverse. It's never going to be, it never has been. Green Arrow is always going to be number one because he created the Arrowverse because it was based off of his name. The Flash is second. Every other show is behind them after that. And essentially, The Flash is better than the show. Black Lightning is as well. And yes, even Superman and Lois is better than the show as well. Essentially, that's what's been happening. But the supervillains used to be fun and scary and entertaining and very, very evil and sadistic. Like I said, Damien Dark, Malice, Neron. Obviously, they had Damien Dark and Vandal Savage. They were all very dangerous. This Bishop guy is a Disney Channel villain in a TV 14 show with superheroes in their 30s to going into their 40s with no kids. He's singing, dancing, wearing turtlenecks, looking like a complete and total weirdo / dweeb. And I don't take him seriously. He's just a joke. So essentially, that's what's been happening on the show for the past 2 seasons now, essentially, because he's the villain for this season, season 7, which is the current one. Also, the last one, which was season 6. He won't be in season 8. If they even actually did that, I'd be like, wow, seriously? They just gave up on it. It's like, nobody else is that bad. It's just Bishop. It's like, dude, Vandal Savage was way worse than him. Damien Dark was way worse than him. Way brutal. Way more sadistic. Neron. What was the other demon's name besides Neron? I forgot his name. But he was just bad. They were all evil and bad. I just said his name previously, but I just can't remember it. But they were all very, very bad. They were fighting demons and ghosts, for crying out loud. Essentially, it's crazy. Oh, Malice, yes. Fighting guys who are literally like demons or devils, literally. And they have to end up fighting this guy. They were way more scary and evil compared to him, Bishop. But that's what the writers have decided to do, fold it in and act like it's no big deal. And he's just a villain for the show. He has been for the past 2 seasons now. And essentially, we're going to see what happens with how they move on finally from him again when he's destroyed again at the end of this season. How they're going to obviously be fixing the timeline and what he screwed up, how he messed it up, how they can fix it and solve it. Like I said, pass the torch to the new legends, or possibly just fix it, give the machine, the Wave Rider back to the Time Bureau. The Time Bureau says, you guys have done great. Thank you for your service. Rip Hunter's going to come in and thank them for doing their great work and being legends, erase their memories, and send them back to the timelines that they were in, their respective timelines, and they move on from that. And it's like essentially nothing happened, like it was all just a dream or a fantasy. That might happen, it might not happen. I have no idea. Let's see what happens when towards the end of this actual whole entire show within the next 6 months to possibly a year. I don't know. It's all speculation for me for here. Nobody knows, obviously, but like I said before, it used to be fun. It's not anymore. It has not been for years, essentially. Well, the 100th episode was great, but all those characters are never coming back. They might be when the show's over, but it was just boring. Vixen wasn't there. Who else wasn't there? Hawkgirl wasn't there. Moana wasn't there. Who else wasn't there? Heatwave was not there. Somebody playing Heatwave was there, but we never saw his face because Mick Rory, who is Heatwave, played by Dominique Purcell, is gone. He's not coming back. He left the show. He might be back at the end of this actual show when it's over. The last episode for a reunion, possibly. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But there were some missing characters. Like I said, Hawkgirl, Vixen, those two ladies were gone. And also Moana, she was gone as well. So 3 ladies were gone. I can't remember anybody else, but it was essentially them. Yes, Vixen, Hawkgirl, and Moana. So we'll see what happens with that. It was kind of weird too, because Hawkgirl and Hawkman are a duo. They're a single piece, so they're always together because they're obviously soulmates. If he was there, she wasn't. I thought that was very weird. So we'll see what happens with that. That's basically it. That's all I have to say about the show, and we'll see what happens throughout the rest of the season, going into the end of the show, which will be the final season, possibly this one, the current one, which is season 7, or possibly season 8. That's it. That's all I have to say about this. Let me know what you think about this down in the comment section below. If you have been watching the show recently, or if you stopped watching years ago, how do you feel about the current direction that's been going into with the comedy? Like I said, it's a ripoff of Guardians of the Galaxy. They tried too hard with the comedy and the jokes. That's just been overly done, and it hasn't been taken seriously yet over the past couple of years. How do you feel about Matt Ryan's new character with a big, huge, fresh beard, as he is now Professor Gwen Davis, and no longer John Constantine, who had no facial hair at all, essentially, basically, besides some little bit like a 5 o'clock shadow, a little stubble on his face. But unfortunately, he's not playing that character anymore because, like I said, HBO Max owns the rights to it, and they took that away, and they said you guys can't use them anymore. So that has been the case on the show. And that's what's been going on essentially. We'll see what happens. Like I said, in the next upcoming weeks, and that'll be basically it for my video. That'll be the end of it. Thank you again for watching. And that's all I have to say about this again. Thank you and goodbye. Thank you.